Om Aginachamarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshmanutram Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didanti Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapatakamalong Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shri Jivam Sadvaitam Sadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakana Lalita Shri Vishavitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sudhadevi Pranamani Hari Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nivishesha Shunyavadi Praskachai Desatarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yesterday was the appearance day of Vrindavan Das, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So we'll talk a little bit about him. And a few days ago, it was the appearance day of Abhiram Das Thakur. Of course, you're all very familiar with these personalities. And but first we'll speak a little bit about His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. So obviously one has a shelf life, and that means you have to leave the body. So the departure of any devotee, it's bitter, but also sweet. So we've experienced this in South Africa, the departure of Srila Krishnadas Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And Shrutikirti Prabhu, Temple President, and our godbrother, Shamal Prabhu. So bitter and sweet. So first we'll talk about the sweet. So why is it sweet? Because they are returning. They will take birth in Krishna's pastimes. Somewhere in this material world, in some Brahmanda, and they will continue their devotional service. So this is guaranteed. And we have the example in the Srimad Bhagavatam of Ajamil. Canto 6, chapter 2, text 49. Mriyamana Harinam, or Ajamil api ajadamam. That Ajamil, at the time of death, became frightened Mriyamana, the death, and chanted the name Narayan, but referring, Grinam Putra, referring to his son, not Lord Narayan with 4 hands. But still, Ajmal Api Ajadhamam. He attained the spiritual world. So then the verse goes on, so if you also chant the name of God without offenses, then you will also attain the same destination. And then it's also mentioned in the 6th canto, chapter 2, text 7, that Ajamil had atoned for sins performed in this lifetime, indeed, Api, indeed millions of lifetimes, Janma Karma. Why? Because he chanted helplessly, in a helpless mood, Visvasa, the name of Narayan. Although he did not chant purely, he chanted without offenses. Sounds a little confusing, but purely means Shuddhanam. So he did not chant purely, but he chanted without offenses. Therefore, he went back to the spiritual world. So we have great Vaishnavas within the ISKCON mission, and I mentioned some of their names, who were consciously, deliberately chanting the name of God. They weren't doing it by accident. Ajamil did it by accident. He was inspired by the Supersoul to give his son the name Narayan. So Sankit Parahasam Stastobham Hilame Vacha. He chanted Namabas. So he was chanting the name of Narayan without thinking about it. He wasn't consciously worshipping Narayan or God. But we are. We rise early in the morning and we put our hand in the bead bag and we chant, and we're doing it deliberately. And we're also trying to avoid the offenses. We're consciously trying. Sometimes they may slip in and we may become inattentive while we're chanting, and we may think of the children, the wife, the husband, the situation in South Africa, various armed conflicts which are going on, which actually are quite depressing. We think about Ukraine and so forth. But then we pull the mind back again. We pull the mind back again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But then again, after a few mantras, what happens to the mind? Like a bucking mule, it wanders off again. Oh, what am I going to eat? What's in the fridge? Why my good-for-nothing husband doesn't get a good job? So, and then again, we pull it back, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There's a very nice example, which is extremely sublime. So every evening, Lord Krishna would have the Maha-līlā, the rāsa-līlā. Within the rāsa-līlā are all other līlas, boat pastime, playing in the water. You must start practicing for that, coming from the Indian background. Swing pastimes, joking pastimes, gambling, but not Suncoast. but gambling. But they can do it. They're allowed to do it. So then we read how Krishna, he left the rāsa-līlā. So that's chapter 31 of the 10th canto. And very intimate. And the gopis felt great separation. And then he appeared again. I'm sort of jumping a little, but then he appeared again. So when he appeared again, the gopis surrounded him in a circle. It was like a circle around Krishna. And then as they started to dance, the circle, they were holding each other's hands, but then they would drop the hands. But then again, they thought, oh, Krishna might escape or he might go. So again, they picked up their hands. And then again, as the music continued, music was playing automatically, by the way. Flowers were dropping from the heavenly planets. They would drop their hands, and they would do all these different mudras. Like this is a mudra, believe it or not. This means, I hope you understand. And this means, come here. But in some countries, that's offensive, and you have to go this way. There's different countries with different, customs. So the gopis would drop their hands, and then again they'd pick up their hands and hold each other's hands, thinking, oh, Krishna may leave again, because he did in the past. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has compared that to, we're chanting Hare Krishna in our house in Chatsworth, and we're going Hare Krishna, and then we start thinking of what you're going to do later on, work, what you're going to cook. So then you're dropping your hands. Then again, you quickly pick them up and you go back to the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So it's a very nice example. So, bitter and sweet. So these Vaishnavas that have come have been sent by Krishna, actually by Lord Chaitanya. They've been sent by Lord Chaitanya. And Srila Prabhupada, the one person, he's preaching, and in the end, he initiated approximately 4,700 disciples. So Lord Chaitanya sent all of these people to help Prabhupada preach at that particular time. And they performed a very important service because Prabhupada needed those assistants like Brahmananda Prabhu, Gargamuni Prabhu, many. So Prabhupada really needed that help to preach. So one example, if you're not thirsty, like I'm not thirsty, I am, it's because the different medicine is making my mouth very dry. But if you don't need water and someone offers it to you, it's not a big thing. But if you really need water and someone offers it to you, then it's appreciated more. You understand that? It's appreciated more. So Prabhupada really needed help. Therefore, these early devotees are very much appreciated because they performed a very important service in the early days. And of course, Gopal Krishna Maharaj is a very significant Vaishnava and helped in the early days. But the nature of this body is apakshaya. What's that mean? Excuse me. Apakshaya. Anyone? Huh? it dwindles. Your body dwindles as you get older. So there's a description when Dhritarashtra was getting older. Vidura preached to him and said, "My dear Dhritarashtra, your memory is shortened. Your intelligence is also disturbed. You can't see. Lately you've become hard of hearing. You can't hear properly. You're coughing up mucus." So Vidura is preaching to his brother, give up this family attachment and go to the north, which means the Himalayas, which actually means go to a spiritual place and prepare for death. So Dhritarashtra actually took the advice of Vidura. It's called Dhritarashtra Quits Home, Canto 1, Chapter 13. So the nature of this body is apakshaya. It's going to dwindle. So sooner or later. But the sweetness is that these Vaishnavas will take birth in the Lord's pastimes. And they will assume spiritual bodies according to their individual relationships with Lord Krishna, and they'll continue in their devotional service. Every living entity has an eternal relationship with Krishna. So in a general way, we just say Krishna Das, which means servant. But more specifically, we are in Shantaras, neutrality, Dasyaras, servant, Sakyaras, cowboy boy, Vatsalyaras, parental, like Mother Yasoda, or Shringararas, which means conjugal, Madhurya-ras. We're in one of these 5 relationships. There's not 4, there's not 6, there's 5. But sometimes the relationship is pure. In other words, pure Dasyaras. But sometimes that Dasyaras can also be mixed a little with friendship, as is the case of Uddhava in Dwarka. So, but still, the primary relationship is one of 5. Now, we don't know what is our relationship at this stage, because we're not so advanced. But as we become more advanced, we will begin to understand. So, these Vaishnavas will take birth according to their relationships. And it may not all be with Krishna. It may be with Lord Ram, as is the case of Murari Gupta. It may be with Lord Nrsimhadev. Or as in the case of Bhishma. Now Bhishma who was Bhishma? He was fighting Krishna on the battlefield. And Bhishma's eternal relationship is not Shringara-ras, not Vatsalya-ras, not Sakya-ras, Dasya-ras, servant, and not in Vrindavan, in Vaikuntha. And there is a planet in Vaikuntha where Partha Sarathi, but the original one, not the imitation made in China one, the original one, is performing his pastimes. This Prabhupada describes this in the purport, Canto 1, Bhishma Dev passing away. So that's where Bhishma wanted to go, Vaikuntha and the planet with Partha Sarathi. So depending on one's individual relationship, one will take birth in the pastimes of the Lord, and this is guaranteed. So these great Vaishnavas like Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Bhakti Chu Maharaj, this is their destination, and it's guaranteed. So it's sweet, but on the other hand, it's bitter, because they're leaving our association. And obviously when anyone passes away and you're attached to them, some adjustment is required. It's not an easy thing. So you can look at it philosophically. And if you look at it philosophically, I can just read this. So this is the commentary to chapter 2, text 13. Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada writes, this individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, neither material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on the account of the death of Bhishma or Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Now, listen to this. Rather, Arjuna should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. So actually, you should rejoice. And we can also see the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Haridas Thakur left his body. So when Haridas Thakur, he was much older than Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Brahma entered into Haridas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya picked his body up and danced with it. And there was jubilation, which is a complete contrast to our situation. Even when a great Vaishnava leaves, we do get a little depressed. But if the emotion is pure, then it's vipralambha, it's spiritual separation. But because we're not pure, the emotion probably won't be 100% pure and maybe a little mixed. So Vaishnavas like Gopal Krishna Maharaj and I think Jayapataka Maharaj is also in and out of the ICUs, and also many other Vaishnavas that maybe we're not so much aware of, because we read about these Vaishnavas, we think about them, but there's many other wonderful Vaishnavas. Recently, Shilavati, she left her body. I think she was 90 something, but Prabhupada taught her how to do, he in Los Angeles, he explained to her details of deity worship and then requested that she teach others, Shilavati. So another wonderful Vaishnava. So these Vaishnavas, and also in our congregation, their destination is the spiritual world. Which means Krishna's or the Lord's pastimes within the material world, where they'll make further advancement. Technically it's called Vastu Siddhi. And then when those pastimes are finished, they go back to Goloka Vrindavan, or Ayodhya, or Vaikuntha, or Dwarka, according to their particular relationship. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, it's understood, it was his appearance day, I think, yesterday. Vyasadeva appeared within him, or Vyasadeva manifested in him, and he wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is a very important book to read. But Prabhupada chose to translate the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's understood the Chaitanya Charitamrita is more madhurya. What does that mean? Sweet. Madhurya means honey, sweet, but it also means shingara rasa. It can mean many things. Chaitanya Bhagavat is more Aishvarya. It's more respectful, if you like, Aishwarya. But still, Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote it, and we should read it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta has written a commentary on it also. So, a little technical information. The Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shrivas. So Shrivas had brothers. Sri Ram, Sri Nidhi, Sri Pati. I think 4 or 5. And one of the brothers had the daughter, Narayani. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Navadvip, Srivasangam, saw this young girl, Narayani. At that time, she was 4 years old. And this is the pastime where Lord Chaitanya was exhibiting his opulences. And he told this 4-year-old girl, Narayani, chant Hare Krishna and cry in ecstasy. So that's what she did. She started chanting Hare Krishna and falling on the ground in spiritual ecstasy. So Narayani grew up and she married. And her son was Vrindavan Das Thakur. Then the husband died. This happens, like Jagannath Mishra just left. And this is Gaur-līlā, and yet he left. He's Nanda Maharaj, but at an early age he just left. So Narayani's husband passed away. So she came to live with Srivas Pandit. And Srivas Pandit's wife was called Malini, another famous Vaishnavi. And Malini, in Krishna's pastimes, was Ambika, an assistant of Mother Yasoda. So if you're interested in Vatsalya Ras, like Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj, then your meditation will be to serve a great devotee who's also in Vatsalya Ras. So Ambika was serving Mother Yasoda. And Ambika had a sister. And it's this sister that became Narayani. Kilambika. Ambika and Kilambika. 2 sisters. In Krishna Lila, 2 sisters. And then in Gaur-līlā. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Narayani, chant Hare Krishna, cry in ecstasy. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave her betel nuts from his mouth. Many times Lord Chaitanya would give out chandan. What's chandan? Sandalwood, mala, pushpa mala, flower garland, and betel nuts to the Vaishnavas. But we don't take betel nuts. Damn. So I don't know what is the taste of betel nuts. Do you know? From Mauritius. And you take the betel nut. Was it tasty? Huh? To roll. And you put in your mouth. And then you put in your mouth. So I'm still speculating about what is the taste of betel nut. And sometimes when I go on my walk on Govardhan Hill, I see them selling it. And I think maybe. But then I thought, what if Sri Damodar Prabhu hears about it? What if the chairman of the Sannyas Council, they quickly film me? I'm in big trouble. But I'm thinking to seriously do it. Yeah. So, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he took initiation from Lord Nityananda when he was 16. Vrindavan Das Thakur. So a great Vaishnava, and we can pray to this personality, Vrindavan. So who is Vrindavan Das Thakur in Krishna Lila? He's a cowherd boy. There's two names, Kusama Pida, Kusima Sava. So Kolavecha Sridhar was Kusima Sava, and Vrindavan Das Thakur was Kusima Pada. So cowherd boy. So that's why he likes Lord Nityananda. And you can see that in Chaitanya Bhagavat. That mood is coming through. It's very nice. So these great personalities in Krishna Lila, they also appear in Gaur Lila 500 years ago, and they're also appearing now. And that's how we should see many of these Vaishnavas within the ISKCON mission. Being sent by Lord Chaitanya. They were sent to help start the mission, but they are also now being sent. Because there's many nice second and third generation Vaishnavas. And although they may be younger, clearly their characteristics, they're advanced, they're nice. They have spiritual gravity and understanding, and in the future, even more will be sent to help propagate this Krishna consciousness in South Africa, Africa, and all over the world. So Lord Chaitanya is sending these personalities, as he did 500 years ago, but also now. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, and then I mentioned Abhiram Das Thakur. That was his appearance, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. So Abhiram Das Thakur is also a cowherd boy. He is Sridhama in Krishna Lila. So he also appeared, Abhiram. He was very powerful, very strong. Abhiram Das Thakur. So we shouldn't think that only the associates came 500 years ago, and then 100 years, 400 years, Narottam, Srinivas, Shyamananda. Of course, these characters, Vishwanath, Bhaktivinoda, Gokishore, they're extremely elevated. Like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was a ray of Vishnu, extremely elevated. Bhaktivinoda, at the age of 2, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was writing poetry. I mean, at the age of 2, we can't even walk. So very elevated, but still, Lord Chaitanya is sending exalted personalities to help preach. So we should be aware of this and always appreciate the association of Vaishnavas. Appreciation is very important in spiritual life. Sometimes we become a little unappreciative. We take for granted We may be offered Mahaprasad, but we don't like it. You know, it's the rice is cold or something. So there's that tendency to be unappreciative. Would you agree? We should appreciate the holy name, coming to this temple, festivals, Rath Yatra, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam. If we get given a flower garland from the deities, appreciation. As my Willie Shakespeare said, I always have to slip in a Shakespeare quote. Blow, blow, O winter wind, thou not so cruel as an ungrateful man. Brackets, or woman. Sharper than a serpent's tooth is an ungrateful child. Sharper than a serpent's tooth is an ungrateful disciple or child. So we have to be grateful for what we have and appreciate. And as we become more advanced, this mood of appreciation will increase. Becomes more and more. Appreciating Radharanath, Prasad, Tadiya, paraphernalia of the Lord, the holy name, Vaishnavas that are willing to preach. This appreciation will increase. So we should appreciate Vrindavan Das Thakur, Abhiram Das, and personalities like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and numerous other ones also who have come to assist and help. Like many, we come to the South African yatra, and there are many younger devotees, and they're not aware of the struggle that went on 40 years ago in South Africa trying to preach. Raising money for this temple. They're not aware of the Vaishnavas that sacrificed. They gave up their youth because many of the devotees that joined were around about 20. And they gave up their youth to preach Krishna consciousness, like Giriraj Swami, Bhakti Chumaj. So we should appreciate that, which is somewhat lacking amongst the new generation. We can't even get them to read Prabhupada Lilamrita, but this is a very important book to read. And the other biographies of Prabhupada's life and so forth. So, as I said, sweet. I didn't mention Kadambakar Maharaj also. Contributed so much to this yatra. Sweet, because they've taken birth in the Lord's pastimes. But also there's viraha, which means vipralamba, which means some sadness, which means bitter. Sweet and bitter. But we always have to see the bigger picture. We're all going to kick the bucket. We're all goners. We all have a shelf life. We don't like to read about it, but it's there. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki, Vrindavan Das Thakur ki, Abhiram Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, our Guru Parampara ki jai, Go Premanandi Hari Hari Go. So would you like to say anything or ask any questions. Sometimes it's difficult. I'm stressing on appreciation, but I can give you an example. If you were now to go to Vrindavan, you would have a difficult time because it's quite hot, probably 40, 42, 43 centigrade, and so much apparent passion, and it's difficult to cut through and appreciate the hogs, the vehicles. We're fortunate now that the President Modi, they banned, it's coming from him, but so now in at least Govardhan Hill, there's no cars. There's only the battery operated, which is much better than the diesel operated. But previously it was just being lots of SUVs. So you have to cut through all of this, your own health, some mental instability, some little bit depression or something, and appreciate. And sometimes it's not so easy. So we have to call out, like Ajamil called out helplessly. So Visvasa, helplessly. So sometimes Lord Chaitanya makes you more helpless. And you find yourself in the ICU, as Bhakti Chumaraj did. And Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj spent his time, and Kadambaka Maharaj, in a more helpless situation. But the destination of all these Vaishnavas is spiritual. It's not material at all. So we should rejoice in that way. Because as time goes on, only more will depart. You had a question or wanted to say something?
Thank you so much for the class. My question is, for a lot of things there's no gratitude often in our hearts, but before we reach the stage of Guru Nishta, the false ego may actually oppose the mercy of the spiritual master. And those 6 stages of Panchadakriya are actually opposing the mercy of the spiritual master, and that's why we are Anishta, unsteady. How does one overcome that opposition of the false ego?
How does one overcome the false ego of what?
The opposition of the false ego.
Oh, yes. Our spiritual advancement, we should think, and it's a fact, it's based on kripa. And what does kripa mean? Mercy. We shouldn't think, I am doing, I've achieved. It's my own strength. Yes, I fasted on Ekadashi, and I stayed up all night, and I chanted so many rounds, and I want to broadcast this on Facebook. We should think whatever we've achieved in spiritual life is by kripa or mercy. And that keeps us humble. And we can see practically whenever Prabhupada was praised, he would always minimize his place or position and glorify his guru and parampara. So we should also think that whatever advancement we've made, and we have made advancement, tangible, we may not be running through the forests like the gopis, but still we've made some advancement. is due to kripa, mercy. And this mercy can come through other Vaishnavas, can come through our personal Diksha Guru, through prasad. It has many avenues, as it were, this flowing of kripa. So we should consider ourselves objects of mercy. Kripa patra. Would you agree? You want to say something? Microphone.
We thank you very much. We appreciate very much that once in a while you come and give us your darshan, and we are able to hear from various mouth. And my question is, of course, before that I said that you also have really sacrificed all from a young age and worked so hard, even though your health had deteriorated, still you come in front of us and helping us, supporting us, and doing your business. But in these days, of course, it is not the same opportunities. What we can do, what we must do so that we can get devotees who will come to the temple premises and develop this mood of doing service like in the past, selflessly, but also lasting for decades. What are we lacking so that we are not able to reach?
What is it?
Because we have a lot of...
I'm becoming hard of hearing now, like Dhritarashtra.
Thanking you for dedicating your life. What are we lacking? What are we lacking?
Oh, what are we lacking?
That these days we have a lot more literatures,
Yeah.
books, we have giving classes.
I can give simple. There's kripa, and kripa we may get, we may not, it's causeless. It's actually beyond our control. Kripa. Lobha, greed, to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. Sakhi ras, sali ras, madhurya ras. That greed, it's called loya or lobha, is beyond us. But what we can do is we can try for it. And that's called enthusiasm. And that's why Rupa Goswami says, Utsaran Nishtha Dayat. We can try. So that's our position. We have to try. Then that mercy may come a little bit or more, or we may even get overwhelmed from time to time, or it may not come. I'll give you an example. It's a Kadashi. You get up early in the morning, you take a nice long cold bath, and you sit there and you think, right, I'm now going to chant some good rounds. And then the mind immediately thinks about the neighbors and you start falling asleep. It's dry. Of course you carry on chanting because you have a vow, and the taste is not there. And other times, I remember one time I was flying on the aircraft and you're surrounded by all these people, meat eaters, And I remember sitting in the aircraft, economy, in those days, economy, and I got some little mercy, and I was thinking of Vrindavan. But I didn't plan it, and it just came. So, Kripa Shakti, it comes of its own accord. So Kripa Shakti is two words, Yadricha, Swaprakash. Yadricha comes of its own accord, Swaprakash, self-manifest. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains, this is bhakti. So it's not within our grasp, we can't grasp it. But we can try. And then it may come, it may not come. So this is how we understand pure love of Krishna, particularly Braja Bhakti. So we have to try our hardest. Anything else? From the original Sarup Damodar in Gambila's representative. If we can somehow pull you back from the Gambira. Do you like to? No? Any ladies? So you understand that point, that mercy, it comes of its own accord. You can't force it. And it's self-manifest. So it's actually not within our grasp. Pure love of Krishna, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Braja Bhakti, it's not. But we can try our hardest. And that means the enthusiasm to do it. We can try. So therefore we try our hardest. We work at it. And something will come. But we can't really say what or how much, because bhakti is swaprakash, self-manifest, and Vishwanath says yadricha in Madhurya Kandambini comes of its own accord. It's very easy to understand. When Krishna appears, does he appear by his own sweet will? Or is he sort of forced to appear? Lord Chaitanya appearing. By their own sweet will, they appear. So bhakti also is the same. So thank you very much. Any announcements?
I'd like to thank Partha Sarathi Das Goswami for his kind association and wisdom. So with this, give Maharaj a nice round of applause. And we have some kirtan.